Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight to participate in our Meet the Candidates Forum for the 2017 candidates of Putnam County and town races. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan, grassroots political organization. Our mission is to encourage informed and active participation in government, working to increase understanding of public policy through education and advocacy. We do not support or oppose any candidate or political party. Any person of voting age, male or female, may become a League member. We have something new to offer to Putnam County residents for the 2017 election, and our candidates are probably aware of it. The League of Women Voters Vote411.org website will be available online tomorrow. Notification went out to the newspapers, and so you will see the article in the newspapers, and I hope all the candidates will participate. You should do it as soon as you can. Election day is getting awfully close. And those of you who have, I know Gina, you have, thank you. I can't remember all the rest of the names, but we do have a good representation, Judy, who have, and Sheriff Robert Langley, who's running for sheriff. So it's very easy to access by going online, and you should have information in the program that was on your seat. You plug in your zip code, and you will be able to locate all of the necessary information for voting in Putnam County. So it's the candidates as well as voting information. We've invited the Putnam candidates to participate in this online voter guide by providing their biographies and answering a few generic questions prepared by the League on issues regarding the position they seek for election. In addition, at our League table tonight outside the room here, we have Voter Guides Part 2 regarding the 3 ballot proposals. The League of Women Voters pamphlet, New York State Constitutional Convention, Get the Facts, and flyer. Well, we don't have a flyer, so the information on vote411.org is in your program. And then we also have League of Women Voters membership and tax deductible donation applications out there on the table. Tonight, approximately 22 of our Putnam County and town candidates will be speaking to us. Immediately following their discussions, we will clear the chairs in the room here, and all are invited to meet your candidates and converse with them on questions or thoughts you may have about the position they seek to be elected or re-elected to. Tonight's moderator is Katherine Dehring, a longtime member and former co-president of the League of Women Voters Northeast Westchester, serving the towns of Bedford, Lewisboro, Mount Kisco, Pound Ridge, and North Salem. Katherine is retired from a career in banking in Rockland and Orange counties. When not involved in League work, she is a published author and helps to run the Katona Poetry Series. Let's give Katherine a round of applause and thank her for being our moderator today. We're going to start tonight's event with the Pledge of Allegiance. Phyllis Honig, our Vice President, will lead the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hello, everyone. Am I in the right place for this? I guess so. The pamphlets outside are great, so pick one up. I always am stuck when I get to my voting, but when you turn over that paper ballot and it's got those proposals, sometimes there's one on there I didn't know was going to be on there, so it's good to look at that. And I believe Vote 411 has information on proposals too. So as voters, we need to not only know the candidates running for office, but things like, do we want to have a constitutional convention, or what are the other proposals that may be on the ballot? So the League is here to help us all be educated. So thank you, Eileen, for your introduction, and I believe all of you have a program. They were on your chairs. As you can see, we have many candidates this evening. I don't recall ever moderating at an event where there were this many candidates. So once we get going, we're going to go through it. You know, we're trying to stick to a schedule, so there'll be some time left over at the end for some Q&A on a one-on-one basis. Yeah, so and then each of you will come up in turn. You'll speak for 3 or 4 minutes. We have timekeepers. So they are Phyllis Honig and Dorothy Schmidt, and they will hold up a sign that says you have 30 seconds left, or stop. And we won't drag you off with a hook unless you really get out of hand, all right? Try to keep the messaging positive. I know you've already written what you're going to say, but we urge you to use your time at the podium to talk about what you can do for the voters of your district, as opposed to something your opponent did back in high school, all right? I don't know whether that's happening or not, because I'm from Westchester. I don't know what your campaigns are, but the same has to do with our voters who are here to hear from the candidates. We prefer not to have a lot of catcalling or hissing. Let's try to keep it civil, all right? Let's hear what people have to say. All right, I wanted to say that several candidates were not able to be here tonight. So you were all given one of these, which is a list of all the candidates running for these positions, as far as we know. And the people highlighted in yellow are here this evening, but this does give you the name of the candidates who are not here this evening. And if you go to Vote 411, or if you just go to Google and Google their name, you might be able to find out a little bit about that candidate as well. All right? Okay. So we're going to go to the town of Philipstown first. And we have 2 positions open for town council. And 2 of the 3 candidates who are running for this position are here this evening. And they will go in the order that they are listed on the program. So I believe the first candidate is Mr. Leonard.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting. My name is Michael Leonard. I'm currently on the Philipstown Town Board. Just to give you a quick background, I have 38 years of experience in the utility management business. Those were tough years. I had a lot of challenges. You're going to hear from me 2 things: challenges, okay, and also getting results. Challenges, results. That was my passion from the beginning of my career and continues to today. I took on a lot of industrial issues. We know anybody that's ever done that, that's not easy to do. There's a lot of people involved, a lot of issues, a lot of regulators. Convincing your own management to go forward on issues, very difficult. I was an instructor for over 10 years, also a school director as well. And I had over 100 people working for me in the department, unionized, so anybody that's ever dealt with unions realizes that's an important role, to understand contracts, be able to negotiate, be able to talk to people. I feel that is a key quality of mine, that I'm able to speak to people. I listen to people, then I evaluate. Maybe I have to go do a little research, then I come back. From there, I was actually mentioned to me when my own town road needed to be repaired, that I presented very well, that maybe I want to consider coming on the boards. So I went to some meetings, and I ended up spending 15 combined years on the planning board, which we all know is land use. I became the chair of that. I moved on to, I was on conservation, and I was also on, which of course is environmental, which is a key piece for me, and also the Board of Assessment. If you've ever gone to grieve your taxes, or want to work with the assessor, that was an area I was involved with as well. So that gave me a great foundation for what I feel for moving forward. And then I was actually approached by members on the board to consider running. And I evaluated it, thought about it, and felt it was a good time. I felt I had the structure from my previous experiences to be able to give something back to the community, and that's something I always wanted to do. And so from there, we obviously took on a lot of challenges. At least 4 years that I'm on the board, we have met the budget cap, 2% or less, we all know, it's 2% or inflation. Most of the time it's less than that. The problem is, right off the bat, you start at a lower number than that, actually, because of insurances and workman's comp, you actually begin below the percentage to start with. So you're actually in a hole to begin with that you have to come back to. A lot of challenges. Also, in my previous experience, I helped build fire departments internally in power facilities. I also built up emergency services, EMTs. We actually come up with a hazmat team that helped the counties, surrounding counties. That helped me as well, because when the fire and ambulance came before us and said one year, we're sorry, but we have 2 ambulances that have to be replaced. In a town under 10,000 people, that's a tremendous ability to be able to try to come up with that. We were able to do it, and we were able to still stay under cap. This year, which obviously those that are involved know, there are a number of workshops. Each year you get involved with budget. We were able to discuss as well with the emergency workers to be able to provide them with hopefully some increases, all right? Because they do a tremendous job for us, and we should appreciate that. Key things I get involved with, environmental. I have been quite involved with environmental issues in the town, and I've done a lot. Stormwater management, our town is over, half the town is steep slopes. I've done a lot of work in those areas to make people safe. Quality water, we have towns around us that are running out of water. We need to watch that issues. I watch those. And I was also on the cemetery committee and done a lot of work, I feel. Thank you very much. Vote for me on the
Thank you. Okay, our next candidate for the town of Philipstown Town Council is Mr. Timothy Greco.
Hi, my name is Tim Greco, and I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for putting this on today. Let's give them a big round of applause. I was born the son of Italian immigrants, and they would be very proud of this moment right now, so I'm very proud of it. I am the husband and proud father of a son in his second year at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University studying aerospace engineering. I have been in full-time ministry for 20 years as a pastor in various churches in Connecticut and New York. I'm currently the pastor of the Church on the Hill in Philipstown. When I took over this historic church built in 1831, the church was closing and going up for sale with 4 members left. Today, we are flourishing, and we have a thriving congregation who gives back to our community in various ways. Also, previously, I was a senior reporter with the Putnam County News and Recorder for many years. My wife, Beth, is the CEO president of the Walter Hoving Home, a recovery center for women who are addicted to drugs and alcohol with locations coast to coast. I also am a media liaison there, so we are in the front lines of battling the drug problem in our communities that plague us. I have various roles in the Philipstown community. I was the past president of the Lions Club for 3 consecutive years and was awarded Lion of the Year, and also the Melvin Jones Fellow Award for the highest award bestowed upon a lion that they could give. Running has given me the unique, and just to say I was not only that past president of the Garrison PTA, I have researched, reported on, been clear in my position, facing most issues on the town for many years. Running for office has given me an opportunity to hear and to discuss and debate with my fellow residents and change my mind on some, and hopefully giving them the chance to change their minds too. We all benefit when there is discussion and diversity and tolerance in our communities, and I believe that there can be tolerance and diversity on our town board. The town is comprised of all Democrats. I feel some of the issues facing our community right now is a lack of vision and inclusion. Many residents I've spoken with feel that the town board just goes through the motions. On the bread and butter issues, that should be their focus of finances, roads, the town's infrastructure, and planning for the future. Instead, they get caught up too often wasting time and energy on issues that have nothing to do with any of those things, like becoming a sanctuary city, a resolution, safe city resolution, that has unintentional consequences. Not to mention hanging fire that's not voted on yet, the unenforceable, unconstitutional gun safe law, and the mass gathering law where the government can dictate how many people you can have on your private property without obtaining permits. Which brings me to the question, what role should the board play in immigration and gun rights? The answer, unless the town board is considering establishing Philipstown's own foreign policy, then absolutely none. My point is that we have an aging population, an opiate crisis that is killing our children in our community. We have the highest assessed property values in Putnam County, and talk of a countywide property revolution, to name a few issues before us. I'm going. The town board doesn't have much of a track record for getting things done. Remember the on and off again Bunnerfield Town Hall drama, the Grainer Emergency Services Study, the ambulance corp funding, and the Garrison Fire District saga, the ongoing dispute between Cold Spring and Nelsonville regarding fire coverage, also the town's abandoning of the Fair Street Sidewalk project in Cold Spring, all pocketbook issues that have cost residents time and hard feelings. I'm stopping. I'll give credit to anybody that runs for office. I want to say it's been a very, very difficult run with some of your supporters coming out, cyberbullying us, my family, my church, and my faith, and I hope you'll come out against that. Thank you very much.
So we're going to do the town of Patterson next, and we have two races. One is for town council, and you'll be voting for 2 people, and 2 out of 3 of the candidates are here tonight. And then we will hear from the town justice, one of the 2 town justice candidates. So we will start with Peter Dandreano, who's a candidate for town council, town of Patterson.
Thank you. Yeah, now I don't get the applause. Thank you for the League of Women Voters in Putnam County. I think this is the only forum where we can actually see candidates from all parties get together and really hear who they are and what they have to say. So I just want to first say it's great to be in my hometown, Mahopac. I know the official term is Mahopac, but I grew up here saying Mahopac, so it's really great. The library's changed a lot, but I just want to start with a little bit about myself. So I am up for re-election. I just finished my first term, so I'm really happy to run again. I think I'm running on my record. So a little bit about myself. I'm a retired police officer from the town of Greenburgh Police Department. I just finished up my 20 years back in August, so now I have tons of free time to dedicate to the town board and everything else I do. I am very involved with child safety programs with the Greenburgh Police Department. I implemented and started a lot of child safety programs and community outreach programs that I've been bringing to the town of Patterson. I'm a trustee in my church. I go to the Mission Church. I'm a trustee and a ministry head, and I'm very active in my church. My wife is a nurse, and I have 2 children, 12 and 14, that attend George Fisher Middle School and Carmel High School. I've served on the Putnam Traffic Safety Board for the past 10 years, and I'm also a member of the Putnam Disaster Preparedness Bioterrorism Task Force. I'm also a 2nd lieutenant in the Civil Air Patrol in Putnam County, and as you can see, I'm very active in my community. I only have 2 minutes to tell you everything, so I can't tell you all the stuff I've done. So what the message I want to put out to the residents of Putnam County is I just want to, let's continue what we started. So I think I've started a lot of different things in the town of Patterson. Our town board has stayed, since I've been on the town board for the last 4 years, we've stayed under the New York State tax cap, which, as most of you know, is very, very challenging with workman's comp, insurance costs going up, fuel costs going up, etc. But we have managed to be very fiscally conservative and kept us under the tax cap. I've worked very hard with the Putnam Lake Park District Advisory Board. They had an issue. I started attending their meetings. They had a crime issue in the neighborhood, so I started a neighborhood watch there, something I've done down in Westchester for many years. So I brought a neighborhood watch program to Putnam Lake, as well as the last 2 years we started the first ever in Putnam County National Night Out program. So we've done that for the last 2 years. So I support local businesses. I have my own local business. I teach first aid, CPR, driver safety training, and I've also worked very hard to improve emergency services in the town of Patterson. We have had issues for the last couple of years with our ambulance services and volunteers unable to cover a lot of calls, so we worked very hard starting our own EMS. I continue to bring new programs for seniors and children with my background. So please vote for me. Again, let's finish what we've started. You can find me on the ballot on the Conservative, Republican, and Independence lines. Thank you very much for your time.
Our next candidate will be Mary Smith.
Good evening, everyone. I'd just like to say, throughout history, the name Mary has always represented power and strength. Queens, saints, and women who have chosen to stand up for what they believe in have held my name. I am Mary E. Smith, and I am running for councilwoman in the town of Patterson. It would be my honor and privilege to be elected, as I am a newcomer to this. I am a hardworking, tax-paying member of a small but proud community that I want to see thrive. I have a family here just like yours. My grandchildren are growing up here, just like so many of you and your children have. I want to leave Patterson a little better than I found it. I want to work together with my community to make it just a little better for all of us. I believe in doing what is right rather than doing what is easy. I believe when you start something, you make sure you finish it. As I have told many of you, I do not propose to wave a magic wand to fix any problems Patterson may have. I am simply here to present myself as a qualified, confident resident of Patterson seeking a seat on the Patterson Town Board. Let me share with you some of my life's accomplishments. I'm a proud mother and grandmother. I have enjoyed Patterson as a homeowner for 29 happy years. I have been employed at Brewster School since 1990. I am currently the Assistant Supervisor of the Transportation Department. I am a certified 19A examiner, as well as a school bus driver instructor. In my role, I work directly with the families of the children within the Patterson community. This has allowed me to develop a value for the ideas and opinions of others. I call it keeping my ears attuned to the heartbeat of the community. Think about your entire day revolving around the future of someone's child. Every phone call, every delegation of work, every decision I make. This is a lot of responsibility, but I find it comes easy to me as I truly care about the future of these children and the town they live in. Now, I know you are all asking yourselves, what does this Mary have to offer you? Well, along with my varied experience and ability to view and strategize a solution without my own personal bias, I offer you an open and realistic mind. My openness allows me to understand the issues at hand, knowing not everyone will agree all the time. My realism allows me to possess a unique ability to view from every angle and make a financial decision that will best fit both the taxpayer and the community together. I thank all of you. I thank the League of Women Voters. I would also like to thank each and every one of you for lending me your time, your consideration, and your support. So when you hear the name Mary Smith, I ask you to remember my sincerity, my integrity, and my ingenuity, and these words. Some like to say it takes a village. In our case, it truly takes a town. Thank you.
Now we will hear from one of the two candidates for Town Justice, Mr. Michael Caruso.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for having us all here tonight. This is a great forum, and it's a real privilege to be here. And it's a privilege to be one of the Town of Patterson Justices, to have the confidence of the board and the constituents in our town to put me in this position. Great responsibility. And I've had the absolute privilege to work with some really great women practitioners and judges throughout my career, 10 years in practice here. Notably, Gina Capone is in the audience, as well as Christy Acker. Those are to name a few really exceptional women. But let me tell you a little about myself and why I'm here before you tonight. As a practitioner, I went to Pace Law School. I was an environmental student. I concentrated in environmental law. I got a degree in it, and I pursued a master's in it. While I was at Pace, I did intern at the Women's Justice Center, which was a center for domestic violence, and it really gave me a very sobering and unique perspective on some of the struggles that women go through in some really terrible situations. But thankfully, there are outlets like that to help them. In my course of study, in environmental law, one of the things that's really resonated with me and through environmental law is it's a lens for social justice. And as a student of it, as a practitioner of environmental law, it's something I do in my practice now as well. It's a great vehicle to examine how social issues manifest and can be dealt with through some powerful law. And it's been a great experience, and it's something that I'm really, really dedicated to. So my environmental background, working with Riverkeeper, and I'm still a member of the legal issues team for Surfrider Foundation, which protects oceans, waves, and beaches and access for all to those resources. So those are things I do on the side, if you will, but they're very important in my practice. So the reason why I'm here before you tonight, among other things, is that, you know, being a judge, certainly in the year that I've been doing this, it's uniquely bicameral, and I think it's something that takes a unique personality. And it's a great privilege, but it's also a great responsibility in the sense that you're making very difficult decisions. And before I was given this responsibility, I was a criminal defense practitioner for probably about a third of my work. And that gave me a very unique perspective on some of the channels and pathways that people are affected by the legal system in our local communities, and just how close to home that really hits, especially now with some of the opioid issues and some of the issues that are affecting our towns, which cross party lines and certainly are just endemic and need to be addressed. And it's tough to see them in the court system, but it's also a very good mechanism for trying to help people and treat the issues in whatever ways, through diversion programs and some of the systems and protocols that we have. But even more importantly, I'm here tonight also as a dad. I have a daughter who's 2 years old, and I have another daughter on the way, April 21st, God willing. And I'm so thankful to be a dad to daughters. It's so important to me. I grew up in an Italian-American household where my father was the word of God in my house. And my mother just didn't have the same parity as my father. And when I married my wife, who was one of 3 girls and I was one of 3 boys, I was the middle child, so maybe that's where the bicameralism comes from. But nevertheless, I was introduced to my 2 sister-in-laws and their nieces, one of their nieces, who were just the greatest gift to me. And raising girls and being around my nieces has been the most important thing I've ever done, I'd say. And for me, my wife and her 2 sisters are my greatest source of stability and influence. And the women in my life are so important to me. It just can't be overstated. And to raise daughters and to raise young women in this environment, to be practitioners, to be independent, empowered women is so important. And I'm so happy to have the opportunity to raise daughters and to be among such great women. So thank you for the opportunity tonight. I look forward to hearing from more candidates. Thanks.
Now we come to the town of Kent. And the town of Kent has 3 races for town supervisor, town justice, and town council. So we will hear from them in turn. Our first candidate will be Maureen Fleming, who is one of 2 candidates running for town supervisor. Ms. Fleming.
Good evening, everyone. It has been my privilege to serve as the town supervisor in the town of Kent since 2014. I am a fiscal conservative, and in my tenure as the town supervisor, I have put forth 4 budgets, not only under the tax cap, but with absolutely no increase in taxes for the town. For myself, as a resident of the town, I think that's pretty important. Not only have we not raised taxes in the town of Kent, but in the 4 years that I have been supervisor, we've added approximately $1.4 million to general fund balance. So we're managing money properly and we're getting the job done. In that time, I have worked with not only the highway superintendent, but various department heads to make improvements to the equipment in the various departments. And again, this without raising taxes. We have significantly improved our highway equipment, our parks and recreation equipment, our Lake Carmel Park District equipment, and our Lake Carmel sanitation equipment. We had formerly failing fleets in all of those departments, and now we're on the road, no pun intended, to really making a difference. We had, my first year in office, 6 snowplows go down the same weekend because the highway department had been thoroughly neglected. And when snowplows go down, you know what that means for your community. I'm working with commercial realtors, the EDC, and attorneys in town to actually bring real commercial development to the town of Kent, which will make a difference not only in improving our tax base, but providing sustainable, really paying jobs, not minimum wage jobs. With the highway department, with the highway superintendent, we have gone out and gotten bids. We reach across the aisle. He's a Republican, although he's endorsed by the Democrats this year. I'm a Democrat, and we have been successful in getting grants from our state senator, who is a Republican, and our state assemblywoman. We reconstructed a Nickel Street Causeway. We have bought new highway equipment. We've repaved Hortontown Road, and I've been working with Sandy Galiff on a $150,000 grant to build an inclusive all abilities playground on the grounds of Town Hall. We just received last week a grant from the Buddhist Association of the United States for $10,000 to help us with that project. I spearheaded the formation of a lake association which brings together all the lakes in our community so that we can work on our common problems, brainstorm, come up with new ideas, and hopefully improve water quality across the town. I've negotiated 4-year contracts with all of our labor unions, and in my tenure as town supervisor, we have not had one grievance filed against the town. In 2015, with the help of the Carmel-Kent Chamber of Commerce, the Kent Public Library, the Arts on the Lake, and the Town Recreation Department, we instituted a winter festival. We also have a summer festival that coincides with our our July 4th celebration and our fireworks with a backyard Olympics. I'm proud to be endorsed by the Westchester Putnam Central Labor Body, AFL-CIO, IBEW Local 363, Communication Workers of America Local 1103, AFL-CIO, Building and Construction Trades Council of Westchester and Putnam Counties, AFL-CIO, and Teamsters Local 456. I've kept my promises. Please come out and vote for me on November 2nd.
The next candidates should be for town council for the town of Kent. And voters will vote for 2 people for this position, and 2 of the 4 candidates are supposed to be here tonight. They are Stephen Pappas and Jason Makeley. Are they here? One of you is here, and you are? All right, Mr. Pappas, would you please come up?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephen Pappas, as mentioned, running for the Kent Town Board. A little bit about me. I have over a decade's worth of experience from the federal, state, and local level on the government and also in nonprofits. Currently, I am the Director of Development for Meals on Wheels in Rockland County, where I handle, in addition to fundraising and grant writing, I'm the face of the agency. And what I do in the agency mostly is program development as well. And one of the major things that we're trying to do in our agency, which I'm spearheading, is to ensure that the elderly in Rockland County are monitored in such a fashion, whether they're on Medicaid, Medicare, whatever the case may be, so that they don't have to go to the emergency room. If we can monitor them in such a way where that we could prevent something from happening to them, then that's what we're trying to do. And in terms of my passion, I would say, it's for community service. At the end of the day, all we have to do in our lives is give a little bit back of what we are given. And that's what I aim to do in the position for the town board in the town of Kent. My fiance and I, Barbara, moved to the town of Kent. Well, I moved to the town of Kent a little bit over a year ago. She's been over there for almost a decade with her family. And if any of you are familiar with the show Everybody Loves Raymond, I'm Deborah in that situation because we're right across the street from her family. And now, mind you, it's not as funny, but just as loving as the show. Now, what I want to do in terms of the town of Kent is to bring my skills of grant writing, fundraising, and bring those development skills where I can show the town and help the supervisor, Maureen Fleming, in getting more grants, get our fair share of federal and state and local funding, and bring that expertise to help with a Route 52 corridor development plan. With the governor's plan for the consolidated funding application, which I have a great deal of experience with, I hope to bring a comprehensive plan to the town of Kent and have a real downtown for us, When I go door to door, whether it's Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter, everyone wants to have an identity with the town. They identify with their hamlet. They identify with downtown Carmel in some situations, but not the town of Kent. And I want to try to bring that identification back to our town. And in addition to that, I am on the Lakes Council that the supervisor recently created, and I'm bringing my grant skills there to try to bring in that outside funding to preserve our beautiful lakes. And hopefully, down the road, we can bring in some tourism with that downtown, with the lakes and preservation that we're trying to do, and bring in that funding into the county of Putnam, not just thinking locally in terms of our town, but thinking on a more global scale for our community. And then lastly, what I aim to do is to be a voice for our residents. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's a town issue. It doesn't matter if it's a school issue. It's an issue for our residents. And my job, God willing, is to bring those issues to the proper authority and be the advocate for our local residents. So, once again, my name is Stephen Pappas, running for the Kent Town Board. And on Tuesday, November 7th, I hope that you would come out to vote for me. And thank you for listening to me.
Is the other candidate here for town council, Jason Makeley? No? All right. All right, so that was the town of Kent. The next town we will be hearing from is the town of Putnam Valley. There's one position open or being run for town justice. And we have two candidates, I believe, here for that position. Gina Capone, okay, and Michael Adamovich. Okay. Ms. Capone, you're up first.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to the league for being here tonight and for all of you being here. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Gina Capone. I've had the privilege of serving as the town of Putnam Valley's town justice for the past 16 years. I'm a practicing attorney with all general law practice in Putnam Valley for the past 20 years. For those of you that don't know what we do, we are more than a traffic court. We handle civil cases, small claim cases, landlord-tenant, local law cases, traffic court, and criminal cases up to the misdemeanor level. I'm sure most of you have heard or will hear again tonight, we have a major problem with the opioid epidemic. And one of the things that I have been doing and I want to continue to do is we don't have a drug court at the lower level. Everyone's heard of the Putnam County Drug Court. It's a fabulous court, but because of the overwhelming number of cases, most cases that get to the drug court are felony cases, which leaves our misdemeanor cases on our own, pretty much. We are the first court to see these people when they come after they've been arrested. And what I've tried to do is model myself on our own, working with the DA's office, legal aid, and the defense attorneys, is try and model what the drug court is doing. So what I've been doing for the past 2 years is when we have an addicted person that comes in with a criminal charge, is we allow them to come through a program. If they go through the treatment for a period of a year, I monitor them every month. They go for random urine samples. They have to show me 8 months to 9 months of clean samples while they go through treatment. And at the end of that treatment, if they've done well, we'll reduce that misdemeanor charge down to a violation or outright dismiss it if they've gone through the treatment. There are some that feel that they are criminals and they've committed a crime and they should go to jail, and that's a valid point. The problem that we have with that is I've been doing this for 16 years, and I can say I probably have 9 or 10 defendants that have been with me for 6 or 7 of those years, constantly getting rearrested. What you have is someone that has a criminal record, no job, no money, no family, and in 8 months they're going to be released into our community. So I believe that if we can get them at the very beginning and try to get them to treatment and try to cultivate them through a path where we can get them on a road to recovery, I think that benefits the community in general. I love what I do. I hope to keep doing it. I will be running in November 7th on the Conservative, Democratic, Working Families, and Women's Equality Party. And I hope that you'll come out and support me to help me do what I love doing. Thank you.
Mr. Adamovich.
Good evening. And I thank the League of Women Voters and everyone here in attendance and Putnam County for giving me this opportunity to stand here before you, running for the position of Town Justice in Putnam Valley. My name is Michael Adamovich. I've been a resident of Putnam Valley for 36 years. I want to be upfront. I'm not an attorney, nor do you have to be one to be a town or village judge in New York State, nor do you have to be a judge or a lawyer to be in a United States Supreme Court justice. I have a unique background. I was a senior court officer for 33 years down in White Plains, and I've gone through every type of court imaginable. I've gone from the local court to the county court, to the criminal division, through family court, through Supreme Court. I've worked with some of the greatest judges that New York State can provide. There's a wealth of information that I've learned. I've also spent 24 years in the military, 14 years in the JAG Corps. I was assigned to the 4th JAG Military Law Center, part of the 77th ARCOM. I was also in the 63rd Court Martial Defense Team as an NCOIC, obtaining the rank of Sergeant First Class. It's a unique experience. I wound up teaching in the military at Fort Meade, Maryland, for the 1st Army. I taught court martials. I taught the manual for court martials. I also put my name on many Article 15s, only for examples. I developed a program while a senior court officer in White Plains for high school seniors who wanted to go into law or become police officers. And I'm proud to say that a number of them actually have become police officers, and many of them are young, aspiring attorneys. I did mock trials in Westchester County for 25 years as a coordinator. I've actually had a judge a couple of those mock trial teams. I've been subbing in the Putnam Valley School District for 10 years. If you really want to know what I'm about, if you know any of the kids in Putnam Valley who have either graduated or are still there, ask them. Ask them about Mr. A. They'll tell you. They'll be honest. I grew up in Yonkers. I know what drugs are about. My best friends, I didn't see them on jury duty. I saw them in the courtroom, standing at the defense table. I know what it did to them. I really believe that I can make a difference. I agree, we need some type of court on a lower level for the purpose of helping these individuals. I also believe that there should be a youth court for violations, children who can judge themselves, not of a serious nature, where the law really will have to take precedence. My wife Pam has been a high school nurse for 13 years. She's currently now subbing in Putnam Valley again as a nurse. My daughter teaches. She's a department chair. She teaches French and Spanish. My young one, my little one, is a doctor of veterinary medicine, specializing in orthopedic and soft tissue surgery in Austin, Texas. I ask that you consider me as a Republican and as a person who will be qualified to be one of your town justices. Thank you.
So the next town we're going to hear from is the town of Carmel. And let's see, what do we have for town of Carmel? We just have one position where you will vote for 2 out of 4 candidates for town council. And the candidate who is here tonight is Judy Mira.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I also would like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this, and for all of you for coming out tonight. I felt it was really important to be here, so we would have a chance to meet each other, and you could hear what I was about and how important this is to me.
Judy, could you move back a little bit?
Sure.
Okay, let's see.
That's short and never in the right obstacles are ready. My name is Judy Mira. I'm running on the Democrat line for the Town Council, Carmel Town Board. I am the proud mother of 3 daughters and 3 grandsons. and my best friend and husband passed away much too soon, which has left definitely a gap in our lives. Why me? Why am I running? This is my first foray into politics, and it has been an incredible experience. I feel that a one-party town, and our board has been one party for many, many years, can lead to one-sided discussions and closed-door decisions. It's time for a change. We need a proactive board, not a reactive board. We need new voices asking new questions. Being retired now, I am able to devote my time and attention to the needs of our community and serve on additional committees if need be, when and where needed. These are the things that I would like to achieve as a member of the town board. It's time to move forward, always being efficient, accountable, and transparent to the community that I serve. With that in mind, the Mahopac Carmel put out a Vision Carmel 2020, which I feel we really need to move forward with. 17 years, the last master plan was in 2000. 17 years is much too long to have gone without an updated plan for the town's future. I would seek grants to look for funding opportunities that could cover certain costs. I think it is so important to involve the community during discussions. We work for them. I would work for you. That is so important. Your input is not only needed, but essential regarding the infrastructure and smart development. I will look at best practices in towns similar to ours and take advantage of their experiences and innovations that benefit their residents financially, environmentally, structurally, physically, and emotionally. Addressing the opiate crisis head-on is very important to me. Working closely with law enforcement to make sure that the stigma of addiction is understood as a disease. We need to have enough staff and facilities to take care of those affected by this disease so that they have every opportunity for the proper treatment and are able to finally lead a healthy, drug-free existence. The preservation of our town's historic sites is very important to me. A community rich in history needs to preserve that history for future generations. Now, historic, which I read somewhere, this isn't out of my head, historic can mean old and worth the trouble. I think that's something that we can define for some of us. I think it's really important because these buildings can be reused and refurbished and can really cut costs. Recreation is so important for the emotional development of children. Sports is fantastic. I'm a proponent of sports, but the reality is not all children play sports. So we need to find, and we need a youth center. 10 seconds. So hard. That are like painters, writers, builders that can go on and do these things. We need a youth center that will challenge their abilities and develop their creativity. And of course with taxes, and I repeat again how important it is to improve the efficiency, transparency, and accountability of all of our local government. Making sure that timelines are met and that contracted services make financial sense, and that we hire the best company for the job and hold other departments accountable.
Thank you. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters, Mahopac Library, for making this forum possible. Thank you all for attending. My name is John Lord. I'm running for Southeast Town Board. I grew up in Brewster, raised my 2 sons there, and hope to retire here with my wife. Over these years, I've seen generations worth of change in the town. Some of it good, some of it not so good. I started attending town board meetings over a decade ago because I was concerned about how Southeast was changing. Since then, I've been a regular member of the audience. I also began attending planning board and zoning board meetings to learn about how our local government works and makes its decisions. In 2008, I joined Concerned Residents of Southeast. I have been a member ever since and have proudly sat on its board for 8 years. Over many years, I have observed how Southeast is run and gotten a lot of insight into how change and development happen. The 2014 Comprehensive Plan Update was written by residents and volunteers and was meant to be a positive blueprint for Southeast. It's a guide to protect our rural character while making Southeast commercially attractive to businesses that will provide sustainable growth as well as excellent jobs. Unfortunately, the decisions reached by some board members have not been true to those comprehensive plan goals. I don't believe that the opinions of Southeast residents have been heard when zoning changes have been made. I don't believe that proper attention has been paid to fiscal matters when passing budgets. I've been knocking on doors the past 5 months, listening to our neighbors and fellow residents. I've heard their concerns regarding crumbling infrastructure, high school taxes, traffic congestion, water quality problems, and health and safety issues. Residents have offered suggestions, and they are looking to their government for guidance. The residents want leadership and hard work from their town board. My running mate, Melinda Montanaro, and I will work hard for the residents of Southeast. We will listen to them and pay attention to their needs. I'm proud of my town. I marched in its parades as a Little Leaguer and a Boy Scout back when Henry H. Wells led the way. I want to live here for the rest of my life. That's why I'm involved in my community. That's why I go to meetings. That's why I'm here today. Because I believe that as a town board member, I can make important changes that residents want. Please vote for Melinda Montanaro and myself for Southeast Town Board. Thank you.
The next candidate is Melinda Montanaro.
I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters, the library, and all of you for attending. My name is Melinda Montanaro, and I'm running for Southeast Town Council. I'm a former marketing executive, small business owner, community volunteer, and wife and mother. And my driving force this election, the reason why I'm running, is to serve my community and help it thrive. I'm a first-time candidate, and I've spent a lot of time going door to door, meeting as many neighbors as possible. Some are here today, thank you for coming. And we've had great conversations, and I've learned a lot. I've learned that what you want and what I want, what we all want, and what's been part of this political conversation is a strong Southeast with smart development, a community that's financially secure. We have supported recreation programs, protected natural resources, and leaders in its government who are hardworking, proactive, and diligent. This election for you is a choice to choose who can best help address these issues. I want to work with developers and challenge them to do better. Development has everlasting effects on the community, and I've worked on projects on a national scale. I've worked with the renovation and rebranding, this is several years back, for all Bloomingdale stores across the entire nation. And it taught me to think holistically, to look at all the moving parts, see how they're connected, find those unintended consequences and solve them before they happen. We can absolutely develop our town, have businesses that contribute to our tax base and bring jobs, but without putting the burden on our residents. I want to work to better support our recreation programs, boost our parks and open spaces. I have 2 daughters, they are 6 and 2, so this issue I am very passionate about, but it makes business sense as well. The more families participate in our programs, the more visitors we bring to Southeast to enjoy these natural resources and then grab lunch afterwards, brings about a stronger local economy. And I want to work and spearhead initiatives every year that contribute to our town. I am a doer. I can't help it, and you can ask my husband. And I'm always looking for projects that help someone in some way, and I give it my unwavering attention and dedication. That is who I am, that is what I have to offer, and that is why I am running for Southeast Town Council. Election day is November 7th. I am asking for your vote. I'm asking you to vote for me and for my running mate, John Lord, so we can serve our community, and because I truly believe it will make for a stronger and more successful Southeast. Thank you so much.
All right, we have 2 more candidates for the Town of Southeast Town Council. The next one up is Robert Cullen. Mr. Cullen?
I apologize for being late. I didn't realize you guys were ahead of schedule. I just walked in the door. Anyway, good evening. I'd like to thank Ms. Reilly, the League of Women Voters, and the Mahopac Library for hosting this event tonight. My name is Bob Cullen. I'm currently on the Southeast Town Board and running for my 3rd term. I am a retired police sergeant from Westchester County and currently a nuclear security officer for NGG at Indian Point. I have a BS from Iona College, a certificate in police supervision from Pace University. Since 2009, when I first was elected to the board, I have helped to maintain the lowest tax rate of any town in Putnam County. Liz Hudak and I have encouraged responsible commercial growth to expand our tax base. We have returned clean, safe water to some of the water districts, such as Springhouse, and we're also currently working to get cheaper water for the Peaceable Water District. We also improved our garbage contract beginning of this year, and we now have weekly bulk pickup, which is a very good option for people in Southeast compared to the 2 pickups that we used to have. Relationships between the town and the village has greatly improved since Liz and I have been on the board, and we have finally, after much delay, have the beginning of a solar field being built from Tesla on the old town landfill, which will greatly reduce the electric cost for the town buildings with no additional cost to the town taxpayers due to a grant that we got from NYSERDA. We have increased code and parking enforcement with weekend enforcement now in place, which we never had before. I am running again because I feel I'm doing a good job for the town. I'm responsive to residents' concerns and feel I'm a problem solver. One thing I would like to address, though, is the statement that's been going around that myself and Liz are rubber stamps for developers. This is far from the truth. I support responsible commercial development, and all projects in Southeast receive a hard look from the town planning board and also from the zoning board and the town board itself, if necessary. Even Democratic Supreme Court Judge Marks, who had a rule on a lawsuit against the town board, said that the town board has taken a hard look at the Crossroads 312 project, and he supported our decision, and the lawsuit was dismissed. I personally feel that zoning codes are a living, breathing document. What worked years ago may not work today in our ever-changing world. That's why the town has to investigate all projects that come forward to see if it's something that would be good for the town as a whole. The voters of Southeast and Brewster, I respectfully request you to vote for myself and Liz Hudak again to keep Southeast on the right track. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And our 4th candidate in Southeast is Elizabeth Hudak. Hudak. Come on up.
Thank you. Well, I don't know if it's that they saved the oldest for last or the best for last. I'm not quite sure. I do know I'm the oldest. And like the other 3 before me, I thank the League of Women Voters. I thank the Mahopac Library, everyone that came here tonight, whether friend or foe, because I know you're all interested in one thing, good government. And you're interested in good government that you're going to vote for being informed. That's what you need to do. And that's what I have, in my opinion, and many others, done over the past 2 terms that I've been a member of the Southeast Town Board. Brief background, I've lived in Southeast since 1985. I have 2 sons, both of which were raised here. And when I mean here, not Mahopac, Southeast. Obviously, I'm very happy with both boys. Both sons attended the schools in Brewster. I'm very proud of them. My youngest went through the Brewster High School. Good kids. And you know why they were good kids? Because they grew up in a great community, Southeast. A community that I saw growing up with them grow, and grow in many positive ways until 2009-ish. A little bit before that, actually, when unfortunately we had a supervisor who I believe didn't have our town at heart. So Bob and I went out, we were asked, And you know, it's something that there was some reluctance, and the reluctance was because it takes a lot to be a Southeast Town Board member, and even more to be a responsible town board member. So Bob and I went out, and I don't know how many of you remember the famous I Make a Motion. It's a YouTube video where Michael Wrights went a little bit off kilter at one moment, and part of the reason why he wanted to adjourn that executive session was because he didn't want two people who were very important to our town speak. Both of them were Democrats. One was Lynn Eckhart, who now is on our board, and one was a fellow named Bradley Schwartz. And we fought to have those two people speak because we're interested in bipartisanship, because that's what grows a town. That's what makes a town successful. That's what makes a county successful, a state, and a nation. So that's what Bob and I believe, we've done. Bob mentioned a lot of the developments that we had. True. We've done quite a bit. And as Melinda said, you want responsible, good development? Well, of course. And we have John Lord, who's been here longer than all of us. He's a person who lived here his whole life and wants to continue living here, and that's a great thing. The bottom line is we don't only have a town board. We have a zoning board, we have a planning board, we have an architectural review board. We all work together to have responsible development, and that's what Bob and I have done. Yes, we ended up with responsible development. We ended up with an Article 78 proceeding. The court endorsed what we had done, absolutely. So at this point in time, do I think it's responsible development? Absolutely. The latest development is called Barrett Hill. Barrett Hill is now going to be a development that has special units. 60 units are going to be set off for first responders, veterans, seniors, teachers, people who ordinarily can't stay in our community. That's what we recently voted for. So at this point in time, yes, we have that. We have the fact that we have more zoning enforcement, but we still have a wonderful, wonderful town. It's a town that I love, a town that I still want to represent. Yes, John, and stay in that town, because this is a great town, and it's something that I am asking you, the Southeast voter, to vote for me. Thank you very much.
All right, we have been running a little bit ahead of schedule tonight, and so we're gonna backtrack now to the town of Kent. Put your minds back in town of Kent, and one of the two town justice candidates is here, one of three, excuse me, and her name is Pamela Richardson, and we're going to hear from her. Ms. Richardson.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you to the League of Women Voters, to the Mahopac Library, and everybody who's watching tonight, either having come out in person or watching at home or on the internet. My name is Pamela Richardson. I am an attorney, and I am running for Town of Kent Justice. I've been practicing law for nearly 20 years. I have a local practice that does largely put me into the local courts, and so I've handled many of the same matters for much of my career that I would hear if I am elected. Whether it be civil cases that involve a dispute between neighbors or a landlord-tenant matter, dog bites, dangerous dog cases, or criminal defense matters, vehicle and traffic prosecution, zoning enforcement matters, any of these issues I've handled in my career. And my goal is to now serve the community by actually being on the bench, being the judge. I believe that I am well qualified and prepared to sit on the bench beginning in January. I began my career in New York City, handling commercial real estate and development matters, came up to the Hudson Valley and began working with local law firms, and as I say, handling many of the types of matters that I would hear if I am elected. For several years, I did represent the Village of Fishkill as their special prosecutor. I did that for 6 years, and then I additionally represented for many years different municipalities throughout the Hudson Valley. Not any here in Putnam County, but I was the town attorney in Rhinebeck. I have represented and worked with the towns of Wappingers and Fishkill and Pleasant Valley, and I'm also the acting attorney in the Village of Hilburn in Rockland County, where I do handle their court calendar periodically as well. So in addition to being a prosecutor, I've also handled many of the other types of cases that I would hear if I am elected, and I'm hoping that you will find that I am qualified and prepared to handle those types of cases as the judge. I also hold myself to the highest of ethical standards, and I hold everybody I deal with to those expectations as well. So if I am elected, I will run my court much the same way, and endeavor to make sure that everyone who comes before me gets an opportunity for a fair and balanced hearing of the specific facts and law applicable to their case. I think that that's very important, regardless of your background, regardless of whatever history you may come in with. I will not be prejudiced before you come in the room. I will not be prejudiced against you. I will give you a fair and equal shake, each and every one of you who come before me. Hopefully I'll never see any of you, because you'll have no reason to be in the court. I can assure you that anyone who comes before me will be given the opportunity for a fair and thorough consideration of the facts and law of their case. For those of you who follow astronomy, I kind of look at it once in a while. I'm a Libra, so if you consider the fact that my sign is the scales, I really do in everything in my life seek balance. I have no idea if it relates to that or it doesn't, but I think it's it's telling. I do seek balance, and I do try always to provide fairness and reasonableness. I recognize that we do have some real challenges in the town of Kenton and Putnam County regarding the opioid crisis, regarding handling our cases efficiently, and cautiously I would endeavor to work with our existing youth court on matters that come before me regarding individuals who are under the age of 18. I would try to be proactive in handling the other issues that come before us so that we can handle all of the criminal concerns that come out of the opioid crisis. I thank you all for your time, and please come out and vote on November 7th. Thank you.
We've now heard from all the candidates for the town positions. So we have 3 races left. They will be the Putnam County Legislature District 2, Putnam County Legislature District 3, and the Putnam County Sheriff position. So the smallest races. There's no small race. There's no small race. So we will go first to Putnam County Legislature District 2, which is Putnam Valley and the hamlet of Lake Secor. You will be voting for one of the 2 candidates, and both candidates are here this evening. And I will remind everyone that once we're done here, we're going to have the question and answer time, or the mix and mingle time. We have coffee and cookies and everything. So hold on. We're going to feed you a little bit. All right. So the 2 candidates are William Goldman and Anthony Williams. And the first candidate up will be William Goldman.
Good evening. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for having this wonderful event. My name is Bill Goldman, and I am your county legislator representing District Number 2. I'm here today to ask for your support and your vote in the upcoming election. The legislature has done a lot in the last 3 years. Putnam County received a Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting, which less than 30 municipalities in New York State have received. We have a AA2 bond rating. Osquana Lake Road was repaired and paved. George's Garage was sold, and an antique car dealer will be opening up in that location soon. The metal plate issue on Church Road has been resolved. Locally, I introduced an animal abuse registry law, which passed unanimously, and I hope it will be a state law very soon. I held a credit card fraud prevention forum with the Sheriff Department, and also a paper shredding event to help residents with this major issue. I sponsored a business seminar with Putnam SCORE, which are volunteer executives who mentor individuals on how to start a business and how to expand their business. I coordinated several Putnam Valley Town Cleanup Days. I brought a group into town who set up a child safety ID program, taking photos, fingerprints, and personal information to give to parents. I organized an unclaimed fund event. Representatives of the State Controller's Office came into town and helped residents collect do what they had to do to collect their unclaimed funds. This coming spring and summer, we will be making improvements on Peekskill Hollow Road. A lot has been done, and a lot has been accomplished in the last 3 years, but there's more to do. I hope I have your support so we can continue the work together to make Putnam County a better place to live and to raise our families. Thank you for being here tonight, and I hope I have your support on November 7th. Thank you.
We will now hear from Anthony Williams. Mr. Williams?
Thank you all very much. I'd first start by thanking the League of Women Voters for this wonderful opportunity. I also would like to thank all of our candidates. This takes a lot of courage to stand up here and do what we're doing, and thank all of you who are concerned enough to come out here. My name, as she said, is Anthony Williams, and I'm running for a Putnam County Legislator in District 2. A little bit about me: I am a devoted father, devoted husband to my wife Michelle, and a father of 6 children. I serve actively in my community and in the school system. I have worked in corporate America for various Fortune 500 companies such as Sony, Lockheed Martin, Xerox, Random House Publishing, to name a few. I've also worked in the private and the not-for-profit sector. Additionally, I have served on many boards, including the YMCA Board of Directors, the Mental Health Association Board of Directors. I've worked with the Putnam Valley Library, with the Friends of the Library, the Putnam Valley Historical Society, the Lakes Peekskill Civic Association, and I've even been a past PTA vice president and president, to name a few. Now, what does all of this have to do with our legislature? Right now, we are in a crisis. I say this because as I go to various meetings in our county, I realize that we just had a budget pass, but it would have failed if we did not get our $15 million sales tax exemption. That to me is scary. I see many meetings, but what I don't see in those meetings are informed constituents. What I mean by this is I go door to door within my community, I talk to people. Many of them don't realize that we have a legislature, and those who do don't actually know who that person is, to the point that I actually had to make postcards and bring them with me so that I could hand them to people and say, this is what our legislature does. That is not good. Number 2, as I go around the community, I hear about things that are being done, but when I look at the reality, what I don't see is a legislator that stands up and speaks out for the issues that are important. What I see right now is Facebook posts that talk about Lyme disease, talk about it's National Hot Dog Day, but I don't see the issues that are really relevant to the residents in our county. I've heard certain things that have been done, but what I see is things being done incompletely. In other words, Church Road is not complete. That is important because in the wintertime, there are going to be residents that are still very inconvenienced, and that's been a problem for 8 years and is still ongoing. I hear credit being taken for an animal registry, but that is an incomplete issue because a component of it has been left out, which is funding for the SPCA component. What I see right now is a legislature that is unbalanced. There are 9 seats. It's one party. One party is never good for anything. We have to have balance, transparency, and accountability. And I am someone that can get things done. I am someone who wants to be a voice for the people. I ask right now that you get out to vote on November 7th. You vote for a voice, you vote for accountability, you vote for a legislator who will not do the job part-time, but will give you full-time attention, and that will be visible beyond the time that this election is over. Thank you for helping me make this a better Putnam County for all.
The next race, which we will be hearing from candidates on, is the Putnam County Legislature District 3. And that's mostly the town of Kent, I guess. You'll be voting for one of the two candidates, and only one of them is here tonight, Philip Tolmack. Did I pronounce that right? Tolmack? Mr. Tolmack.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters to invite us here for this experiment in democracy. My name is Phil Tolmack, and I'm the Democratic candidate for the seat on the Putnam County Legislature from District 3, which is most of the town of Kent and about a third of the town of Patterson. Most of all, I request your support and your vote because I want to change the focus of the legislature and change the way it enacts proposals to help the county. One of the most important changes I would like to see is that there should be better communication between the legislature and the town governments. All of the changes that I hope to propose for the consideration of the legislature would work better and be more intelligent with the input, critique, and acceptance by the whole county. The legislature, like the towns, cannot continue to provide the same level of services for Putnam residents if it is dependent only on property taxes and holds on to a mandate never to raise them. I too do not want to raise taxes. Instead, I would propose to the legislature, with the concurrence of the towns, a program to jumpstart the approval of new business and industry, and especially mount a concerted effort to attract green businesses and industry to the county. Additionally, I think that the legislature should aid Putnam's largest industry, tourism, and expand the opportunities to publicize, organize, and enhance the many historical sites in the county. I have a long history in Putnam County. I spent my childhood summers in Putnam Valley, and I've owned a home in the town of Kent for more than 30 years. My daughter Beth is a graduate of Carmel High School. I owned and operated a very successful business for more than 40 years, growing plants, designing gardens, and maintaining landscapes. I've served the town of Kent for many years also, as a member of the Kent Conservation Advisory Council for more than 13 years, as a member of the Planning Board for more than 9 years. I was a member and treasurer of the Putnam County Tourism Board and was treasurer and currently am a member of the Kent Conservation Foundation, which is presently raising money to paint and maintain the Mount Ninham Fire Tower and support other environmental objectives in Kent, such as cleaning the lakes, a project that should be shared by the whole county. Recently, my opponent and the rest of county government decided not to act on the governor's shared services initiative, which would have saved and also returned hundreds of thousands of dollars to taxpayers of Putnam. Once again, the county government showed the inability to communicate and the inability to work for the benefit of their constituents. Once again, county government avoided an obvious win-win situation for their constituents because they feared a dilution of their power. Once again, they rested on what they had already done, which isn't very much. As Anthony said before, and I agree with almost everything that he said, one-party government of any party is dangerous. We've now had one-party county legislature for too long. I would work to establish on a county level the fiscal conservatism that has worked in Kent while exploring new revenue streams. And unlike my opponent, I would hope I'd have wisdom to distinguish between silly and good ideas. I ask for your support on Tuesday, November 7th, so that communication and change can begin when the new legislature is sworn in on New Year's Day. Thank you very much.
Before we get to our last race, I just want to remind everyone that you're doing a great job here. You've all been a great audience for your candidates. I'd like to remind you that the other things you're going to have to vote on will be propositions and whether or not we want a what do you call it? A constitutional convention. Slipped my mind for a minute. So try to educate yourselves on that. Look up Vote 411 to find out something about some of the candidates who could not be here tonight. And if you are unsure where your polling place is, You can go look up the Putnam County Board of Elections. You can call them or look them up on the internet, and with your address, it will tell you where your polling place is. I assume most of you who are here are concerned citizens, and you all know where your polling place is, but you never know. All right, so our last race this evening will be the race for Putnam County Sheriff. There are 2 candidates for that position, and the first one we will hear from will be Donald Smith. Mr. Smith.
Good evening. First of all, let me thank Eileen, Reilly, and the League of Women Voters for this opportunity to have democracy at the local level. It's been my honor and privilege to serve as your sheriff, and I want to continue serving as the sheriff, because for me, the office of sheriff is not a job. It's a passion. And since becoming the sheriff, I've continually worked on the values, the mission, the principles, the vision, and the leadership model used by the Putnam County Sheriff's Office. Keeping Putnam County safe has been and will continue to be our #1 priority. And as a part of that priority, protecting our most vulnerable citizens, our seniors, our youth, our people with disabilities. I have been involved with every aspect of the community as the sheriff, as your sheriff. I've been on the board of the Mental Health Association before we even had the opioid crisis and the suicide problem in the nation. I'm the past president of the Mental Health Association. I serve on the board of the Westchester Putnam Council, the Boy Scouts of America, and I'm the past president. Tonight, we're inducting a new class of sheriff's cadets as a part of that program in the Putnam County Sheriff's Office. I'm a founding member and still serve on the New York State Amber Alert Committee, which has successfully recovered so many missing children, abducted children. We're committed to training in the Sheriff's Office. We have 12 current members of our staff as members, graduates of the FBI National Academy. I don't believe there's a department of our size anywhere in the state of New York that can match that record. We now have, we didn't have it when I became the sheriff, a multi-agency emergency response team consisting of members from the Kent Police Department, the Carmel Police Department, and the Putnam County Sheriff's Office. We hope that day never comes, but even high-risk warrants merit the use of this response team. And we don't have to wait 2 or 3 hours for a mobile response team to come from Albany or from the state police. We've improved mental health services in the jail long before the opioid crisis hit America. We're in our schools with our school resource officer program, and we're very proud that we've been recognized by NASRO, the National Association of School Resource Officers, and Corinne Pitt, a former deputy sheriff, now an investigator, was School Resource Officer of the Year. We've worked hard bringing all law enforcement, our fire departments, and our ambulance corps together, and Putnam County has achieved the lowest crime rate in the state of New York from 2012 through 2016. But if there's one crime, that's one crime too many if you're a victim. Property crime has been reduced by 30%. Violent crime has been reduced by 10% during that time period. We're very proud of law enforcement and our emergency services team working together. Right now, America's facing an opioid crisis, and I'm working on that crisis at all levels of government, to include the national level, where I serve on 2 important committees at the National Sheriff's Association. We in Putnam County are at the forefront of law enforcement. Right now, we have the best command team I have seen. And I've got many years of military service and service as your sheriff. And I want to continue being the sheriff of Putnam County so that we can continue on the mission of keeping Putnam County safe and a great place to live, work, and raise a family. Please vote for me on November 7th so I can continue to serve you. Thank you very much, and I thank the League of Women Voters. Thank you.
The next candidate for the sheriff position is Robert Langley.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for orchestrating this event tonight. I'd like to thank the audience for being here. I'd like to thank my wife, Lydia, who's been by my side every step of the way. I'm Robert Langley, not a politician, not a public speaker. I'm a law enforcement officer and a public servant. I spent 23 years in the Sheriff's Department. 2 of those years I served as the PBA president. I worked everything from corrections to patrols to investigations in forensics and identification. I served with volunteer fire departments in Mahopac, Garrison, Continental Village, serving as lieutenant, captain, assistant chief. I retired from the sheriff's office in 2007 and founded a private security firm for commercial and residential clients. I have several points for the Sheriff's Department. Fighting the opioid epidemic by fighting the root cause, addiction. In 2016, 78 people died a day nationally. In 2017, 142 people died a day nationally. Putnam County is following this national projection. Per capita, Putnam County is number 16 out of 62 New York counties for opioid deaths. This needs to stop. I will cut off supply with stronger interdiction patrols. I will work hard to bring alternate courts to the misdemeanor level across the county. This will stop crime earlier and get addicts help sooner. I will introduce programs to help addicts in sheriff's custody. I will not turn addicts back out on our streets without help. This endangers our community. I will be honest about public safety in Putnam County. It's important to remember that DCJS stats are self-reported by the sheriff. In 2016, robbery has doubled in Putnam County, and property crime is up as well for 2016. These are indicators of drug-related crimes. They are the #1 threat to public safety. I will be tough on drug crimes by being proactive. I will make this county safer. I will make our communities safer by enhancing community policing. Trust in the sheriff's office has been lost, not because of actions of the men and women in uniform, but failed leadership. I am an honest, law-abiding person. I will be a sheriff you can trust. I will lead by example for the rank and file, as I always have. I will bring our deputies back into our communities with constructive leadership. The deputies and the community need each other. Working together keeps us all safer. It's time for change in the sheriff's office. It's time for honest policing. And it's time to have a cop with real law enforcement experience in the top job. I want to serve the people of Putnam County as your sheriff. I will return integrity to the office of the sheriff. Thank you.
And with that, I believe the forum is complete. I think I'd like to speak up for all of you and thank Eileen Reilly and Phyllis Honig and all the members of the right. I don't know all the names, and the candidates all did a great job. The audience was great. It's good evening. Please stay for coffee and questions.